Do you want to master your emotions? Do you want to master whatever emotions that are thrown at you, whether it's sadness, anger, fear, whatever emotions that you're in right now, and whenever you feel paralyzed in that emotion, master all of your emotions for that matter, and raise your level of consciousness. And this video is for you.
I think we all have to go in there and just trust to it.
So before we continue, what are emotions? Emotions really are energy in your body. That's how I see it. So it's kind of like energy coming in, coming out. So when you're feeling anger, it's like energy rising in your body, and then it can either stay there or it can go. Or when it goes, it's transmuted into something else. And their purpose is to help you survive. Right? So for example, why are you feeling grief after someone dies in your family or whatever? It's because that grief really helps kind of to protect you, to process what has happened in your life. So with that low energy phase of grief that, probably you stay at home more, probably you reflect more, probably you're more introspective, that grief helps to really move on from what has happened. Why do you feel fear? Well, it's to protect you. Let's say if there's a fire, you feel afraid because, of course, then that fight or flight response kind of primes your body to escape that danger, of course. So there's two things you got to do to master your emotions. Here they are. So number one, you have to learn to let go of those emotions. Number two, you have to learn how to channel those emotions. The common self-help advice that tell you, they kind of help you to control your emotions. They tell you, they give you like those affirmations to say, they give you those quick fix solutions, visualization, whatever, to put just on top of your negative emotions. I don't believe this is what you have to do. So what you can do is that you learn to do judo with them, right? So when an emotion is thrown at you, you learn to take that emotion and roll with it. You do creation with it. You transcend it, channel it into something productive. So that's what you can learn to do. Because trying to control your emotions only creates more resistance, only creates more repression in yourself, suppression in yourself. And what you actually want to do is that you want to take that emotion and you want to transfer it. You want to kind of superconduct that emotion, right? As Leo from actualize.org would say, become an emotional superconductor. So it's like the emotion goes from beginning to end, with the least amount of resistance possible. So when you feel anger, let it run through without resisting that anger, without fighting that anger. Just let it run through, let it run its course, and let it die by itself. So to master your emotions, first you have to know about each and every level of emotion. So I actually have a book right here by David Hawkins, Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender. And this book really will outline to you the main emotions that are driving us humans, right? The main emotions and what they represent in terms of levels of consciousness, and how you can raise your level of consciousness by moving through each emotion. At the highest level, you have love, peace, and joy. And at the very bottom, you have shame, whatever, guilt, and all that. So starting from the bottom. So at the very bottom, you have shame. Then you have guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, pride, courage, right? And then neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, love. So after love, you have joy, peace, enlightenment. Okay, so let's go through each one. So shame which is the lowest of the lowest levels, is basically characterized by humiliation. Humiliation as in hanging your head in shame. It is traditionally accompanied by banishment. It is destructive to health and leads to cruelty towards self and others. At the root of shame, you really believe that you don't really deserve to exist. Like you're so low level, you're so low that you shouldn't even be existing. Right? That's the level of shame. And anything that you do, you shouldn't do. Anything that is in your life right now is absolutely inadequate. The next emotion is guilt. So in this energy field, one wants to punish and be punished. It leads to self-rejection, masochism, remorse, feeling bad, and self-sabotage. It's all my fault, right? accident proneness, suicidal behavior, projection of self-hatred on others, right? Evil, right? So guilt is really you feel like what you do is inadequate. What you do is bad, right? You reject yourself. You reject, you feel like you deserve to be punished. The difference with shame is that shame is you believe that as a human being, you don't deserve to exist. Guilt is it's more on the level of what you're doing, right? On your day-to-day life, that you feel this is inadequate. So it's one level higher, but it's still pretty low. On top of that, you have apathy, which is characterized by hopelessness, playing dead, being a drain to others, being immobilized in the feelings of I can't and who the fuck cares, right? At that level, it's basically apathy. It's like you feel nothing. You feel numb. You feel like nothing at all. This is depression. This is the level of sadness, depression, where really you wake up in the morning and you feel like nothing is worth it and that there's no point to it all. On top of that, you have grief. Grief, which is basically helplessness, despair, loss, regret, and the feeling of if only I had, right? Separation, depression, sadness, being a loser, mournful as in I can't go on. So this is when you really feel like, you cannot be helped. You feel like no one can help you and you feel like you're basically a hopeless case. On top of that, you have fear, which is where you see everything as danger, which is everywhere. It's like this energy of being avoidant, defensive, preoccupied with security, possessive of others, jealous, restless, anxious, and vigilant. On top of that, you have desire, which is always seeking gain, acquisition, pleasure, and getting something outside oneself. It is insatiable, never satisfied, and craving. I have to have it. Give me what I want and give it to me now. That's what desire is. Fear is really like paranoia, being paralyzed, as in everything is danger around you. Desire is, right, you really want something and you cannot be satisfied, right? Yeah, those are not the best levels to be at, but at least beyond grief, that is very immobilizing. At least at the level of desire, you've moved from being passive to actually moving towards the active phase, right? Because at least with desire, you can move forward and take action in your life. Now, on top of desire, you have anger. This energy overcomes the source of fear by force, threats, and attack. It is irritable, explosive, bitter, volatile, and resentful. It likes to get even, as in, I'll show you. Now you start to gather a little bit more energy. Because when you are at the level of fear, you were paralyzed. And now desire and anger, now you start to have a little bit more force, a little more energy. On top of that, you have pride, which is my way is the best way, right? Its focus is achievement, desire for recognition, specialness, and perfectionism. It feels better than and superior to others. Now, that's not exactly the best thing, obviously, but it's better than being stuck in grief, better than being stuck in fear. So after anger, you can reach a point where actually, you know what? Fuck that. You know what? I want something. My way is the best way. I'm just going to do that, right? That's David Hawkins. He has two levels of consciousness. So the first lower level talks about, force. Those levels from shame all the way to pride, those take a lot of energy, right? It's really draining to be operating at that level. Once you move up beyond pride into courage, then you start having power, which just really becomes more and more effortless the more you move up. The level of courage is, I can do it. It's a level of being determined, excited about life, productive, independent, and self-empowered, and it's effective action, right? Effective action is possible at that level. So this is when you decide with courage, you've overcame your fear. You've overcame, that anger and all that pride and stuff. And then you start taking action. You start being more, you start seeing things in a positive way. You start to be like, you know what? I can do this. I deserve this. I can overcome this, right? After that, you have neutrality, which is a way of life that is comfortable, pragmatic, and relatively free of emotionality. And it's okay either way, It is free of rigid positions, non-judgmental, and non-competitive. Neutrality is when you start to accept things as they are. It's like, you know what? the world is sometimes the world is shit, whatever, it's fine. And things can go bad, things can go good, whatever. I'll just do my thing. It's kind of like this neutral stance of everything, which is, I would say, where I'm at most of the time. This really describes kind of like my stance on life in general, which is funny. On top of that, you have willingness, which is the energy that subserves survival by virtue of a positive attitude that welcomes all expressions of life. It is friendly, helpful, wants to assist, and seeks to be of service. So willingness is beyond neutrality, where you really want to have an impact. You want to do something with yourself. Really, it's like, now you've let go of the negativity, now what's left? Right? It's kind of like this, once you realize that you let go of all those emotions, you realize you reach a point where you actually want to do things. You want to explore things. You want to grow yourself. You want to have a contribution. This is willingness. After that, you have acceptance, which is easygoing, laid back, harmonious, flexible, inclusive, and free of inner resistance. Life is good. You and I are good. I feel connected. It meets life on life's terms. There's no need to blame others or blame life. Acceptance is really like, it's a really powerful state if you can get to that point. It's really like, whatever life throws at you, it's totally fine. Whatever the world throws at you, it's totally fine. Whatever happens in your life, you're fine with it. And you're not in conflict with life. You're not fighting against life. You're not trying to, impose your will on life. You're one with life. The laws of nature says that, it's going to rain someday, and someday it's going to be sunny. Someday it's going to be beautiful. Someday it's just going to be dark. Some days I'm going to suffer through some pain. Some days I'm going to be happy. Top of acceptance, now we're getting really in higher levels. There's reason, right? And this aspect differentiates humans from the animal world. There's the ability to see things in the abstract, to conceptualize, to be objective, and to make rapid and correct decisions. Its enormous utility is problem solving. Science, philosophy, medicine, and logic are expressions of this level. When you start to, you've accepted certain things as they are, you're willing to make a difference, and you have the courage to do so, then you can move up to reason, which is really like, you see things in a logical light. You see things as they are, and you're able now to access your intelligence to solve problems in the world. On top of that, you have love, which is a way of being that is forgiving, nurturing, and supportive. It does not proceed from the mind, rather it emanates from the heart. Love focuses on the essence of a situation, not the details. It deals with wholes, not particulars. As perception is replaced with vision, it takes no position and sees the intrinsic value and lovability of all that exists. You really get to a point where you love everything. You start loving people, you start being non-judgmental of others, and you start having compassion for others. After that, you have joy, which is love that is unconditional and unchanging, despite circumstances and actions of others. The world is illuminated by exquisite beauty, which is seen in all things. The perfection of creation is self-evident. There is closeness to unity and discovery of self, compassion for all, enormous patience, the feeling of at oneness with others, and a concern for their happiness. A sense of self-completion and self-sufficiency prevails. I mean, the more we go up, it's like, the more it seems like all those levels blend in, and it's just beautiful. You reach a point where really there's no difference between you and other. You see everything as part of you, as part of yourself, an extension of yourself in a way. And there's this sort of unconditional acceptance of all those things. On top of that, you have peace, which is experienced as perfection, bliss, effortlessness, and oneness. It is a state of non-duality, beyond separateness and beyond the intellect, as in the peace that passeth all understanding. It is described as illumination and enlightenment. It is rare in the human realm. I mean, just to give you an overview of all the levels of emotions you can go through. Yeah, I mean, even the higher levels, I have a bit of a hard time understanding and I've had glimpses of them for sure. Some of those levels I've had in my life for a brief amount of time. Of course, I'm not there all the time. But really, to really experience those emotions, you have to first go through the lower level. I wish this video to kind of be an introduction, or you have an overview of all the levels of emotions that maybe you're struggling with. And to master your emotions, you have to know every single one of them. Now you have a solid foundation as to what each emotion is, what it stands for, what it's doing, and really you need that roadmap to get started. So what does it take to master your emotions? It really takes a willingness to practice facing your emotions and letting go of your emotions on a daily basis for years. You need a strong and solid commitment to do this, right? You can't just master your own emotions overnight. You need to be willing to go through each emotion one by one. When you're going through them, you need to know how to channel them. You need to know how to let them go. Let the emotion come to your awareness, stay with it, and then let it go. You have to be willing to do that repeatedly until you die. Human emotion is always something that you have to deal with in your life. There's always going to be moments where you have to struggle through certain emotions. So you cannot escape that game. And yes, every single time that you practice letting go, you get better at it. And you need a lot of patience, and you need a lot of humility, and not try to fool yourself that you're better than everyone else because you're in self-development, that you're above this process. No, you have to be humble enough to tell yourself, you know what? I'm stuck in anger. I'm stuck in fear. I'm stuck in apathy. I've been that way for years. How the fuck do I get out of that? And you be honest with yourself to tell yourself that. And then you start from those lower levels. You start with apathy. Okay, I'm feeling shit right now. I don't want to do anything. Fuck, what do I do? And then you start getting pissed off at yourself. You start maybe discovering that there's a desire behind that. And and then you move to the desire. You move to the level of desire, the level of anger, the level of pride, whatever. So you move up those stages. And in the next videos, I'm going to tell you a bit more about that. But I just wanted this to be an overview for you. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. And if you're someone who struggles with emotions, struggling with mastering your emotions, or you're just really stuck at the low levels, you don't know how the fuck to get out of them, then I want you to book a free consultation call with me, where I'll help you to really untangle the mess that's going on in your life right now, so then you can have a much clearer picture as to where you want to go in your life. So click on the link below if you're interested, or I'll put a link right there. And I want you to join me on a free consultation call. Don't forget to leave your suggestions down below. Leave a comment, leave a like, as it helps the YouTube algorithm. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.